Hello everyone. Today in this class we are going to discuss about resource requirement planning. What is resource requirement planning? How we need to use our resources and in a proper way how we are going to manage our resources is called resource requirement planning. In resource requirement planning we are going to discuss about MRP1 and MRP2. In resource requirement planning, we are going to discuss about material requirement planning, MRP1, and manufacturing resource planning, MRP2. What is material management or material requirement planning? Material management is the planning and control of the flow of materials that are part of the inbound logistics system. So, we need to manage the material. How much we need to bring the material to the plant or the inbound logistic, what we need to follow is called the material management. How we need to manage the material, that is called material management or inbound logistic system. A total concept involving an organizational structure unifying into a single responsibility for the systematic flow and control of the materials from the identification of need through usage and accounting of the same. So, how we are going to manage the material throughout the production system from the procurement to our production system, it's called the material management. What is the objective of material management? Supports the operational requirements, manage the material process efficiently and effectively, select, develop and maintain source of supply, means we need to manage the vendors, we need to manage the source where we are procuring the materials, develop a very strong relationship with all the groups of the suppliers so that we can always put our order in time and receive the order in time. Suppose the organizational goal, develop integrated strategies that support the organizational goal. So, scope of material management, material requirement planning and control, procurement, inventory control, then receiving and inspection, means we are getting the right product or not, and all the product what we are getting are according to the quality label or standard is there or not. Then what is the transportation, mode of transportation, cost associated with the transportation, material handling, disposal of material, means proper disposal of the material, means if minimizing the waste while doing the production or procuring the materials, and best use of the materials. Value analysis we need to do to track the management of the material and also in the production system so that we can minimize the manufacturing cost. In cost reduction, optimum service level, quality assurance is a proactive step to see the quality level of the materials we are procuring. Low level of capital tied up. Always we try to minimize the capital invested in material management. Material requirement planning. This is called MRP. MRP is a system for calculating the materials and components needed to manufacture the product. It consists of three primary steps. First step is taking inventory of the materials and components on hand. We have to check the inventory label, that what we are having in our stock. First we need to check the inventory of the materials or components what we are having in our stock or store. Means if we have the materials in our hand, first we need to analyze, we need to see that what materials or the parts or the components we are having in our store or inventory, and what the more extra or additional amount of the materials we need to purchase. First, we need to check what we are having in our store. Then we need to go for the additional inventory to purchase. Identify which additional ones are needed. Then we need to identify, or we need to classify what we are having and what we are not having, so that we can make a plan of not having items and we can put the order of those. Then scheduling their production of purchase. When we need to put the order so that we can receive the order, we need to make a timetable of the processing of the order. Dependent demand. What is dependent demand? Normally, in material requirement planning, we plan about the dependent demand and the independent demand. But material requirement planning has three inputs, that is called bill of material. First input is bill of material. Second input is master production schedule, and third input is inventory transaction or inventory record. So, what is dependent demand? What is independent demand? First, we need to know. Independent demand is nothing but the end item what we are going to produce. Independent demand is nothing but the end item or the end product we are going to produce. What is dependent demand? Dependent demand is the demand of the parts, demand of the sub-assemblies, demand of the components, demand of the materials we need to make the independent demand. Right? Suppose we are going to make a car. What car is our independent demand? But what is dependent demand? Suppose 4 wheels, the 4 door, a steering, 1 engine, these are called the dependent demand. So when we make a plan of the dependent demand, that is done with the bill of materials. MRP in bill of material is a input to the MRP. Bill of material is all about planning the dependent demand, and bill of material is the input to the MRP. So, material requirement planning, a methodology used for planning the production of assembled products such as smartphone, automobiles, kitchen tables, and a whole host of other products and that are assembled. Some items are produced repetitively and some are procured in batches. Okay. So, how we are going to see material requirement planning is a okay. So, these are the inputs to the MRP. If you see here, master production schedule is an input to MRP, bill of material is an input to MRP, inventory record is an input to MRP. This is the MRP system. MRP computer programming system. We take the help of different softwares to process these inputs to get the output. Right? So, what are the inputs? The inputs are master schedule, bill of material, inventory, record. We give all the inputs to the MRP processing system. Different programming systems are there. The inputs are processed with the computer programming softwares and we get the outputs. Outputs are in form of primary report and secondary report. Normally, we get a question on MRP, what are the inputs to MRP and what is the output of MRP. Here if you see, the MRP output can be in the form of, the MRP output can be in the form of primary report and secondary report. Okay, first we'll discuss the MRP input. The bill of material is a input to MRP system. What is happening in the bill of material? Bill of material is nothing but the detail of the dependent demand. Details of the dependent demand. A bill of material contains a listing of all the assemblies, sub-assemblies, parts part cost, and raw materials that are needed to produce 1 unit of the finished products. If you are producing a finished product, so what are the parts, what are the assemblies, what are the sub-assemblies, what are the components we need to manufacture, the end item is listed in the bill of material. The listing in the bill of material is a hierarchical. It shows the quantity of each item needed to complete 1 unit of its parent item. The nature of this aspect of bill of material is clear when you consider a product structure tree. It looks like a hierarchical tree-like structure. So, it is a visual depiction of the sub-assemblies and components needed to assemble a product. What is bill of material? A bill of material is a centralized source of information containing a list of items used to manufacture a product and the instructions on how to do so. Often shown in a hierarchical way, a bill of material lists the finished product at the top, that is label 0. The finished product or the independent product will be in label 0. Then we follow label 1, label 2, label 3 like this. We will discuss in the next slide. Bill of material can be presented as an explosion display or the implosion display. The two main types of bill of material, manufacturing bill of material and engineering bill of material. This is the bill of material if you see. End item is a bicycle we are producing. So, what are the components in this is in label 0. In label 1, we get the wheels, the frame, the hand. This is the seat. This is the very small one. Let me do it. Okay. Okay. So these are the these are the parts we can say, the seat, the wheel, the pedal, the this chain, valve. These are all we can say the parts or label 1. Like that in label 2, we have the spokes, right? All these items. In this way, we go for C to the of the bill of material. So this is the dependent demand. We can see car is the independent demand, but lot of parts, lot of assemblies, sub-assemblies we need to have to make this car, independent demand. So these parts, these sub-assemblies, these are called the dependent demand. So this is the material requirement planning steps. What we need to do in 7 steps, this is done. First, we need to identify the product, means what is our end item. Then we need to estimate the demand and the volume, how much, what will be the demand and what is the volume we need to produce. Then explore the required raw materials and the components. So we need to then plan for the raw materials and the components we need to purchase. Evaluate the existing inventory. We need to check the inventory or stock level of the organization. Then examine the manufacturing capacity. We need to see the capacity, how much capacity we have and how much we can produce. Plan the production and cost. Then schedule the delivery. So these are the steps we need to follow in material requirement planning. Then second input to MRP is our master production schedule. Master production schedule is MPS is called nothing but a timetable. Master production schedule is nothing but a timetable that will tell us when we need to order and how much we need to, when we need to produce and how much we need to produce. When we need to produce, how much we need to produce. Master production schedule will tell us, will give the idea that how much we need to produce and when we need to produce. This will help us to meet the demand of the customer in time. This will help us to reach the demand or reach the product to the customer in time. Master production schedule is a master level or top level schedule used to set the production plan in a manufacturing facility. It is usually a medium term production planning because we have already discussed this is a aggregate planning process or medium term planning process. 6 months to 18 months or 24 months we need to follow. So what is the quantity we need to manufacture in this time period? How much quantity? And what is the time period we need to deliver the product to the customer? That is done in the master production schedule. The main functions of MPS: translate aggregate plan into specific end item. I have already told you that we follow a aggregate planning process, that is from 6 months to 18 months or 24 months. Evaluate the alternative schedules. What are the different schedules we can have? Generate material requirement, capacity requirement, and utilization of the capacity. This is a master production schedule. Master production will give us, means suppose this is the amplifier we are producing. So what is the quantity we need to produce? This is the watt. Suppose 240 watt we need to produce. This is the aggregate production plan. Shows the total quantity of amplifier we need to produce. Yes, in this time period, suppose we need to produce 1500. If you calculate this in 1, 2, 3, 4, suppose these are the weeks. First week we are producing 100. Second 150 watt we are producing 500. Then 240 units we are producing 100 in the third week. Like in the third week also 75 watt we are producing 300, and this is in the fourth week we are producing 150 watt amplifier of 500. If you see, go on doing the total, this is total 500 plus 1500. Like this, the master production schedule will tell us the time when we need to produce and how much we need to produce. MPS development takes place in 3 phases. Development of first version of MPS, then rough cut capacity planning. In case the capacity is overloaded and insufficient, sales and operation team revise the plan to develop a more viable version of MPS. This is the picture showing us. This is taken from Swayam NPTEL slide. This is a very good slide. Actually, it will give us that first MPS we plan in a rough cut capacity planning. Here we have already discussed rough cut capacity planning to ensure that target production quantities are achievable. In case if the capacity is overloaded and insufficient, sale and operation team revise the plan to develop a more viable version of MPS. Okay. So this is the MPS. And inventory transaction is nothing but the inventory label. We need to check what is the label of inventory or how much inventory we need to have. Then what is the output of the MRP? Output of MRP in form of primary report and secondary report. Let us discuss in detail. Primary report, there are 3 kinds of primary report: plan order schedule, order releases, and changes to the plan order. Plan order schedule delineate the quantity as well as timing of future material order. Order releases give authorization on orders to be made. Changes to the plan order may include revision of the cancellation of the time frame of the quantity. This is, if any changes in the order happens, then we can go for accepting design changes or any changes of the product. So that we can have in the changes list. Then order releases means when we need to release the order. Then plan order schedule, when we need to plan the quantity as well as the timing of the material to order. Future material to order means when we need to place the order. On the other hand, secondary report MRP can also be three kinds. Performance control report is used to track of problems such as delivery dates and stock outs. Here, this is the plant report, planning of the report. That is the first one. Sorry, performance control report. This performance control report are used to keep track of problems such as delivery dates and stock outs that have been missed out in order to assess system performance. Okay, performance control report means any mistakes, if it is happened, then we can go for checking if any delay in the uh, delivery date or stock outs in the happens, then that case we can go for the performance, we can get the performance control reports. Planning reports are used to forecast future inventory requirements. This planning report will give us what are the inventory, what are the future requirements we need to keep, that we can have the record. Then exception report are used to divert the attention of managers towards key issues such as late order, excessive scrap rate, etc. So these are all about the primary and secondary report of MRP. Okay. Then we'll discuss about the forward scheduling and backward scheduling. In master production schedule, we follow two types of scheduling. One is called forward scheduling, one is called backward scheduling. In forward scheduling, when we receive the order, as soon as we receive the order, the production process starts. What we normally do in this forward scheduling, when we know the order, immediately we start the processing, we start the production process and we complete it, keep it in the stock so that we are not going to miss the demand of the customer. Okay. What happens in the backward scheduling? Backward scheduling is when we know the order or we have the order, we go for calculating the time period in a backward. And what is the actual time of production takes, we calculate it. And there is no method of keeping the product in the stock or in storage. Immediately when the production is over, we hand over the product to the customer. So no need to keep it in the stock, because when we know the order, we try to go for calculating the exact time we need to have for the production process. Then we start at the same time and end with the same date of the delivery so that we can deliver the product to the customer. So no need of keeping that in the stock. This is called backward scheduling or backward calculation. To mainly avoid the inventory cost, we need to go for backward scheduling. Backward scheduling normally happens in case of the customized products. We go for calculating in a backward how much time we need to take the assembly the product, assembling the parts, how many time we need to have for the procurement of the material, what is the time period we need to check, we need to have for the suppose sub-assembling the products or parts. So these are the things we need to in a backward, we need to go for calculating, and on time we try to deliver the product to the customer so that no need to keep it in the inventory. So we need to try to cut down the inventory cost here. So this is called backward scheduling. Here you can see. Suppose the production takes 17 days. Okay. If it is take 17 days, what we need to do? We go for producing it, keeping it 3 days for delivery, and we need to deliver the product to the customer. This is the due date. But here, what will happen? We know the due date is here, so no need to work this time period. We go on calculating them backward, and we need to start the process maybe 3 days late start. Here 3 days we are keeping in the delivery, in the stock, sorry, 3 days we are keeping in the stock. So 3 days late here we start the process, so that on 17th day only, on 20th day, right, on 20th day only we finish the product and deliver to the customer, because 3 days late we started here. Here immediately we start the production process. So this is the main difference between forward and backward scheduling. MRP2. MRP2 is known as manufacturing resource planning. In MRP1, we are planning the material requirement planning. Here, MRP2 is all about manufacturing resource planning. MRP1 is an input to MRP2. MRP1 is a predecessor, we can say, to MRP2 or a input to MRP2. MRP2, after MRP2 can be a predecessor, is a predecessor to ERP. MRP2 is a MRP1 and MRP2, both are predecessors to ERP. MRP1 is material requirement planning, MRP2 is manufacturing resource planning. MRP1 includes master production schedule, bill of material, inventory tracking. MRP2, more things added here like capacity of the machines, machine sequencing and scheduling, demand forecasting, right? Quality assurance, general accounting, all these things are added to the manufacturing resource planning. So these are the softwares normally we use for MRP2. Thank you so much. I hope you understood the video. If you like the video, do subscribe the channel and share with your friends. Thank you so much.